to take a moment to introduce you to DreamBank. Here at American Family Insurance, life's better when you're under our roof because when you feel totally supported and protected, any dream is possible. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and virtual experience designed to help people pursue, achieve, and protect their dreams. Before kicking off today's event, I'd like to highlight an exciting upcoming DreamBank offering. You can join us for an extraordinary full-day virtual experience at the 7th Annual American Family Insurance DreamBank Dream Summit. Featuring keynote speakers Mel Robbins, the Scott brothers, and Valerie Burton, this free signature event will inspire you to explore your unique possibilities and dream fearlessly. The summit takes place on November 13th, and I will drop the registration link in the chat in just a moment. But you can also find more details about our upcoming events and register for these events on our website, which is amfam.com/dreambank. And now, I'm thrilled to introduce you to our speaker, Dr. Tracey Marks. Dr. Marks is a general and forensic psychiatrist for over 25 years, whose mission is to increase mental health awareness and understanding by educating people on psychiatric disorders, mental well-being, and self-improvement. She believes that insights create change both on a micro level, personal growth, and macro level, reduction in fear and social judgment. Dr. Marks produces educational videos on her YouTube channel at Dr. Tracey Marks. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Marks. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Marks. The stage is yours.
Thank you for the stage and thank you for this opportunity. Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm going to teach you how to build a resilient brain. So let's go. As that was a wonderful introduction, I just want to step through a little bit of a history of where I've come from. Yes, I've been a psychiatrist for nearly 30 years, and I've spent most of that time trying to help people understand the connection between their mind and their brains. I started out teaching people on my blog at Marks Psychiatry, and I was blogging. I was posting articles 3 times a week. I don't even know how I managed to do that back then, but that's what I was doing. Then I started posting YouTube videos in around 2010. Didn't go so well. People weren't quite as receptive to hearing about mental health stuff online back then. And so I stopped. That's what I looked like back then. Then I tried a podcast called Beyond Burnout for working moms. And I did that for about 2 years. It didn't quite mesh that well with me because I just felt like I was just speaking into the air with no feedback, unlike what you get with YouTube and social media. So in 2018, about 7 years ago, I started going consistently on YouTube, creating educational videos because I really believe that mental health education shouldn't be locked behind doors of a doctor's office, and that, yes, insight into yourself creates or gives you the capacity for change. So then I also expanded then to Instagram and TikTok, and that's where we are today. So today I'm here to talk about resilience. I'm going to show you some real science-backed strategies that help rewire your brain for strength. I'm also, what I'm showing you are going to talk about is not just theory, it's things that work. And I want to thank DreamBank for bringing us all together here, with their mission of helping you feel supported so that you can meet your dreams. That's why resilience matters. So, because any meaningful goal is going to be filled with obstacles. And so resilience gives you the strength to be able to weather those. So let's start by clearing up a big misconception when it comes to resilience. For years, people felt like, and sorry if it looks like I'm looking in different places, I've got this big old wide screen. So it's hard to, kind of keep a narrow focus, but so try not to let that distract you. So for years, people believed that resilience was something you either had or you didn't have, kind of like your eye color or your height. You're just either, you were lucky and born with it or not. But the truth is, it's not a fixed personality trait. It's a powerful, teachable skill that changes your brain over time. So that's what today is about, showing you exactly how to do that. So here's how things are going to go. We're going to talk about the science of how your brain and how your brain's stress wiring works. We're going to look at what I consider the 4 core pillars of resilience. We'll look at practical tools that you can use immediately. And then we'll leave some time for questions. So let's go. So to understand resilience, we have to start with the mind-brain connection. Every thought that you have, every emotion that you feel has a physical basis in your brain. I think of it as like your mind being the software that controls the hardware of your brain. And so when we're faced with stress, we have a bit of a tug of war that happens. On the one side, wish I had a pointer, but I'll use my mouse. You've got your CEO brain, your logical thinking brain. It's located right behind your forehead. And this is the, your sophisticated ability or functioning that allows you, that gives you your logic, your rational thinking, your ability to plan and problem solve. However, on the other side over here with this fire going on, you have your amygdala. It's a small almond-shaped structure that's deep in your brain, and its job is for detecting threats to keep you safe. Some people refer to it as your fear center. And when it detects threats, you have an immediate, or it triggers an emotional and physical response to help you to mobilize the troops, if you will, to keep you safe. If that alarm gets too loud, it hijacks the activity of our rational thinking brain, and then essentially just takes over, and we can't just kind of ration through things. So when we face adversity, this is kind of what our brain looks like when we face adverse events. Adversity triggers this detection system, and it's not always the classic fight or flight thing that you would think of, someone bursting in holding a gun or almost having a car accident. Any form of adversity can trigger this system of stress hormones and things, or stress chemicals, affecting how you think and taking over your ability to think clearly. And these things can be a looming deadline, a difficult conversation, financial worries, tariffs. I mean, it could be anything can trigger this threat detection system, because your brain can't necessarily determine what's an actual threat versus what's a perceived threat. And the problem in our modern world is that this alarm can just get stuck in the on position with all this incoming that we have. And then chronic stress weakens the pathways that help us stay calm, and it strengthens the pathways that lead toward anxiety and reactivity. And so with that, we can develop these default systems that lead to maladaptive, we call it, behaviors that don't push us forward. It could be something like yelling or shutting down when you get stressed, or worrying obsessively. And so those kind of reactions can get ingrained in the context of chronic stress and overdrive. But the good news is that just as those maladaptive responses can become habits for you, these pathways can be rewired. So that brings us to the most impactful discoveries in neuroscience, as far as I'm concerned, and that's the concept of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections throughout your life. And this is a big deal because for decades, or for the longest time, we felt, or we believed, that the brain was fixed. I finished my residency in psychiatry in 2000. When I finished residency, there wasn't any talk about neuroplasticity. Now, the concept existed, like there was research on it, but it wasn't widely adopted yet. It probably didn't start getting wide adoption till maybe the mid 2000s or mid 20 teens. And that really changed the game because we got a better understanding through functional imaging studies, seeing how the brain morphs and changes over time to understand that our brains are actually changeable. There's a concept also, or a saying called neurons that fire together, wire together. And what does that mean? That's really just shorthand for the idea that your brain strengthens connections between regions that activate at the same time. So it doesn't have to mean, I used to think it meant that brain cells that are close together physically in the brain wire together. And that's not quite right. That circuits that activate in close in time can become linked. So as an example, if I feel anxious and I grab for a shot of tequila, or this time of year, grab some candy because we've got candy sitting around waiting for Halloween. To soothe myself, I use that to soothe myself. I have anxiety, tequila, or Snickers, anxiety, Snickers, anxiety, Snickers. So you've got firing here, and then the firing or the neural activity that leads to me grabbing for that candy bar. Those two things happening close to one another, that behavior gets linked, so that the next time, and then you kind of get this ingrained habit. So the next time I feel anxious, even if I don't have candy nearby, that's what I want to grab for to soothe myself, because that after a while, those two behaviors or activities get linked together. Now, if I instead intentionally use breathing or taking a brisk walk to walk off some of my anxiety, I feel anxious, I get certain activity in my brain, I stretch, anxious, stretch, anxious, stretch. Now those behaviors start to get linked, so that now over time, my new default pathway is when I feel anxious, I do this other thing that is more adaptive for me. And so every time you repeat a thought pattern, a behavior, a response, you're strengthening certain neural pathways. So that's the foundation for this whole concept. Now let's build on that. So we're going to look at 4 pillars of resilience. And if you've followed me online or hear some of the things that I talk about a lot, you probably can guess what I think some of these pillars are. So with this pillar 1, we're talking about daily habits. And there's what I consider the big 3 that you probably can guess. Number 1 is sleep. Yes, sleep is not downtime. It's when your brain does critical maintenance. So it is essential. It is not, you'll hear people say, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, okay, but you may get there sooner if you sacrifice your sleep too much. During sleep, your brain consolidates memories. It clears out stress byproducts. So some of the things that you do and learn during the day get consolidated and reinforced during the nighttime. You can kind of think of it as like a big store that has a lot of commerce or activity during the day. And then when the store closed at night, a different set of people come in and do warehouse work to replenish supply and all of that. Your brain kind of has that same behaviors or responsibilities, if you will, tasks to do when we are sleeping. So those things are really essential. When you're sleep deprived, your amygdala, the fear center, becomes 60% more reactive. So what does that mean? When you're sleep deprived, you can be more emotional, edgy, more easily overwhelmed. So what's an actionable tip to be able to improve this for you? You can do a 1 hour no screens before bedtime. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production. Melatonin is a hormone produced in the brain that signals that it's nighttime and it's time to go to bed, or that we should be sleeping. When you delay that suppression through too much light at night, it makes it harder to fall asleep. If this is too big of an ask to not view a screen, I recommend using blue light blocking glasses. I have my own right here. So they block the blue light from the screen, but the blue light interference is only one factor of the screen. Also an issue with too much screen time before bed is just too much mental activity. You don't want to be hearing political commentaries on TikTok, an hour before you're going to bed. It's too activating. So an activated brain doesn't fall asleep as well, as easily. So that's a different reason to kind of take a break from the screen right before bed. All right, second pillar, went too long on that. Second pillar, nutrition. Certain foods impact your mood and your energy level. And your brain is an energy-hungry organ, and it needs the right fuel. And what are wrong fuels? Ultra-processed foods and excess sugar. I'm guilty of the excess sugar thing, still trying to clear that out of my diet. But those things, ultra-processed foods and high sugar content, create inflammation as well as energy crashes. So if you struggle with this, trying to clean up your diet, you don't want to just go raw vegan. That's too extreme. So you can just do one thing, add one vegetable to your lunch. And I use this lunch, or I say lunch, because chances are you probably don't have a vegetable for lunch unless you eat salads for lunch. But you make a dinner, it's easy to kind of conceptualize dinner should be a protein, a vegetable, and a starch. Like people can kind of wrap their head around trying to make sure they eat vegetable for dinner, but lunch, sandwich, pizza, whatever it is you grab, chances are your lunch is absent of a vegetable. So this is just one little tweak that you could make to improve your nutrition. And then finally, third pillar, movement. Notice I didn't say exercise. Why didn't I say exercise? Because you don't, first of all, people can think of exercise as, well, I got to go to the gym. It doesn't have to be some high intensity running, swimming. Any movement helps build resilience. And it does this through reducing cortisol, releasing endorphins. Vigorous activity like brisk walking or running or swimming builds resilience by energizing and strengthening your stress system to allow you to be able to rise to the occasion and then recover. But gentle movement is still very helpful when it comes to resilience, because it helps by calming and resetting your stress system, helping you shift out of overdrive. So the tip here is what I'll call the 5-minute rule. Just tell yourself, just move for 5 minutes. Any movement is better than no movement. And chances are, once you start, you'll keep going. But if you don't, even if you don't, 5 minutes is still better than nothing. So what I want you to understand with this is that these are not just wellness tips. Think of these foundational things as brain maintenance. And when these are in place, then you have a better, solid foundation to build upon. Okay, pillar 2 is about reframing your thought patterns. We all have an internal narrator. And sometimes that narrator is prone to drama. So this pillar is about editing the story that your mind tells you when something doesn't go wrong. And the method is simple. You catch it, you check it, and you change it. So when catching the negative thought, there's several thought traps or what we call cognitive distortions or distorted thinking that you can get into. But here are just a couple of common ones. Catastrophizing. This is where you assume the extreme in most situations. So your amygdala triggers the alarm, this threat, you're anxious, and you just jump straight to worst case scenarios. This is a disaster. Another common one is all or nothing thinking. And this is, you can think of this as perfectionism in disguise. It's the belief that if you can't do something flawlessly, then it's a failure. So if I can't do it perfectly, why even bother? Some people refer to this as black and white thinking, where there's just no middle ground between success and failure. And then last of these three common ones, there's more, there's much more than this, but of these common ones is personalization. And this is when we shoulder the blame for things that are outside of our control. So if the team missed the deadline, then it must be my fault somehow. The key here is awareness. So once you catch the thought, then you can check whether it's true or helpful. So let's just walk through an example. So let's say I'm working on something like a challenging project or something, and I think, I'll never figure this out. That's the thought that you want to catch, and kind of a clue that you've got that I have some distorted thinking about this is using absolute words like never, always. If you hear that kind of thing coming out of your mind or coming out of coming from you, that is a trigger or a clue that maybe this is a distorted thought. So then you want to check it. I can ask myself, is this true? Is it helpful? Have I really never, ever figured out anything? Probably not. So then I would work to replace it with a more balanced thought. So something like, okay, this is challenging, but I can still learn step by step. I have figured out hard things before, and I can do it again. It doesn't mean that there's going to be a perfect ending. So we're not going from, I'll never figure this out, to, oh, this is easy, I got this. That's too extreme. And that's fake, really. You don't know that it's all going to be good and easy, because it's not. That's why you're struggling with this. It's not easy. So we're just trying to change change the thoughts to something that is more realistic and empowering for you. Pillar 3 is about intercepting stress in the moment. So earlier, a couple slides ago, we were talking about that push-pull between your prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, and the alarm system of your amygdala sounding off. When that alarm system is blaring, you can't reason through it. So what we just talked about with reframing your thoughts in pillar 2 is harder to do if you are in the throes of panic or a higher intensity distress. So what can you do? You can use your body to tell your brain that you're safe. So here are a couple things you can do. One is box breathing. There's different types of breath work or breathing patterns that you can do to slow down your system. This is just one. And what I like about breathing is that when you become anxious or in distress, you get activation of your stress system. And so your heart rate goes up, your breathing increases as well. You cannot manipulate your heart rate. And I have gotten anxious before about something, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and that just makes it all the worse. I'm like, oh crap, I'm just out of control. How am I going to calm myself down? But you can't manipulate your heart rate, but you can manipulate your breathing, and that in turn will slow your heart rate. So it is a great way to control or slow your body down. So let's do this together. We're going to do a couple of cycles, and I will walk you through this. So the way it will work is that you will breathe in for 4. For a count of 4, you'll hold for 4. You will exhale for 4, and then you will hold again for 4. So that's how it works. So let's go on. I will count while you breathe. So let's breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. Again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. One more time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Now return to your normal breathing. Just take a minute to notice how you feel. You feel any more settled or relaxed? Doing this for a few cycles, like 3 to 4, really slows down your baseline respiration rate. And this doing that sends a direct signal to your nervous system to calm down. And how does this work? It works through activating your parasympathetic nervous system. This is also called vagal maneuvers, if you will. So once you settle your body or calm your nervous system, it allows your CEO brain, your prefrontal cortex, to come back online and help you think more clearly. And the thing about breathing, it's something that you can do anytime, anywhere. You can do it without people necessarily noticing. I mean, if you're, I mean, yeah, that's going to look obvious, but you could do it in a way that people don't necessarily know what you're doing. Another thing that you could do is it has the similar mechanism of activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and that is using cold water. There's a phenomenon, would be the right word, I guess, called the mammalian dive reflex. And what this is every mammal, all mammals, have this built-in survival response, essentially, that when cold water touches your face, your brain, it sends a signal to your brain through your trigeminal nerve, which is in your face, and it goes back into your brain, to slow your body down, slow your heart rate in your breathing to conserve oxygen. Now, the cool part is you can use this reflex even if you're not diving in water, which most of us aren't. But you can use it by splashing cold water on your face. You could hold cold water in your mouth to get a similar effect. So this is something that you could do that activates your vagus nerve, again, triggering your body's calm down switch. And then the third one is humming or chanting. This also stimulates the vagus nerve. Why? Because the vagus nerve comes out of the brain and down through your neck and down into your down into your body, upper and lower part of your body. And it passes by your vocal cords. So if you hum, kind of thing, your vocal cords vibrate, also stimulating the vagus nerve. Okay, so these are just some tools that you can carry with you for calming, using your body to calm without you having to think through it. And then the fourth pillar is managing the stress of uncertainty. So uncertainty is stressful because your brain perceives the unknown as a threat. Your amygdala says, I don't know what's coming. And whatever it is, it could be dangerous. So I need to stay on alert just in case. And this is exhausting to be on alert all the time. So you need strategies to manage uncertainty effectively. And by the way, some people are based on your temperament, are more hardwired to be anxious, or sorry, to have uncertainty, to be less tolerant of uncertainty, or to have uncertainty trigger anxiety more than other people. For everyone, it can be an issue, but some people are more sensitive to becoming distressed in the face of uncertainty. And one of the ways that can look is, or one of the ways some people respond is by becoming very trying to control every aspect of their lives. So if I can't know what's going on, my response is to start micromanaging things and to keep things under control as a soothing mechanism, just throwing that out there. All right, so let's go back to strategies to help with dealing with the distress of uncertainty. One thing you can do is grounding yourself in the present. When you are stressed about uncertainty, usually your mind is in the future. What if this happens? Like the whole bunch of what if scenarios. Grounding brings you back to the here and now. There's many ways you can do this as far as grounding exercises. There's the very popular 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique where you do, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. I actually prefer to use this color technique because I can get caught up in, is it 4 things I can see or hear? Or is it 3 things that I could do what? So rather than get all caught up in all that, just you can use the color technique, which is wherever you are, pick a color. We can do this right now. So I'm in my office. I'm going to pick the color tan or the kind of this light brown color, because that's the color of the walls. Then you want to name 5 things in your eye view that are that color. So for me, the wall. I see a box, a cardboard box. I see a book spine. Not a lot of things that are brown here. I see a this plastic container thing that's brown. And my desktop has a brown color. It's not like you got to get it exactly right. Well, I picked purple and there's only 2 purple things. That's okay. The exercise itself is about bringing you back into the present moment, because while you're doing that, your mind it shifts away from the what ifs and the looping worries to the present moment. And that's exactly the whole purpose of it. Another technique is focusing on what's on the controllable. So this is a circle of control concept. So you imagine 2 circles. The inner circle are things that you can control, your actions, your responses, your effort. And then the outer circle are the things that you can't control, like other people's decisions, the economy, whether or not the government's going to come back on. So when you're stressed about uncertainty, you ask yourself, what's inside of my circle of control right now? And then you put your energy there. So let's say, for an example, you think layoffs may be coming and you're worried about that. Okay, you can't control whether or not that's going to happen, but you can update your resume, reach out to people in your network, save money. Like these are things that you focus on, you put your energy where you have power. And that distracts you from worrying about the things where you have no power. And then strategy 3 is to shrink the unknown. And so big, ambiguous challenges feel overwhelming. They just do. So what's the solution? Break it down. Break it down into the tiniest steps. Ask yourself, what is the very next smallest, most obvious step that I can take? And your brain can handle small, concrete actions, but it struggles with big, vague threats that are just kind of undefined. They're just out there looming. So you want to make the unknown smaller and manageable. So these 3 strategies, grounding, Focusing on the things that you can control and shrinking the unknown are your toolkit for uncertainty. And you can use them whenever you feel that threat, that unknown threat of anxiety creeping in. So we've covered quite a bit. We've talked about the science behind how our brains react to stress. We've walked through 4 pillars of building a more resilient brain. We've looked at foundational habits. We've looked at reframing your thoughts, interrupting acute stress, using your body to do that, and managing uncertainty. And again, these aren't just nice, cute tips. They're tools that actually rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, because everything you do and you think affects how your nerves and your brain circuits connect and operate. And you have more control over it than it would seem. So here's your assignment. And yes, I'm giving you homework. I want you to choose one practice from today. Just one, not all 4, just one of them. Maybe it's 1 hour no screens rule before bed, or it's using the box breathing before going into a stressful meeting. Maybe it's the color grounding technique. Just pick one and then write it down, put it in your phone, tell someone, do something to make it real. In fact, let me see if I have access to the chat. I don't. And if I could read the chat, I'd love, oh, there it is. Put it in the chat. Put one thing that you're going to do. I'd like to see what that is. Oh, not using my cell phone before bed. Excellent. Breathing techniques. Yes. The color. Awesome. Aim to catch what, oops, boy, it's moving fast. Catching the negative thoughts more. Increasing movement and exercise. I started doing humming. Yes. I wanted to do humming one time, and I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know who's listening to me. I felt a little too self-conscious, but yeah, if you're by yourself, wonderful. And the adding a vegetable, I started, I was making myself a sandwich, and I was like, I need to have my vegetable. So I grabbed some carrots, and even though those are starchy vegetables, it's still a vegetable. It's still got nutrients. Okay, thanks, guys. So yes, make whatever resilience habit that you're going to do real by documenting it somewhere. Phone's a good place, wherever you kind of keep reminders, and then let somebody else know. All right, so here's what let me close out this chat because I can't see. All right, one final thought. Resilience it's not just bouncing back from where you were. It's about bouncing forward with new strength and wisdom. Every challenge that you face, every obstacle you overcome is an opportunity to build stronger nerve pathways. So you're not just recovering, you're growing as well. And these habits can help you keep your dreams moving forward, no matter what comes your way. So I want to thank DreamBank again for bringing us together and their commitment to supporting your dreams. And thank you for being here and being willing to try new things. So I'd be happy to take some questions.
Right, we'll give people a second to drop their questions in the chat. And while everyone is doing that, I just wanted to answer the question about if this is being recorded. Yes, and we will share it on our YouTube channel. So keep your eye out for that. You should be, it should be up in the next day or so.
Should I stop sharing my screen?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's going to show after that. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Just a lot of praise coming in through the chat right now.
All right.
Lots of
Yay.
thank yous.
Yeah,
And so, Dr. Marks, one question that, we always like to ask, it's kind of a two-part question that we like to ask at DreamBank is that we know our audience today is made up of fellow fearless dreamers. And here at DreamBank, we believe in the transformative power of dreams. And we believe that the pursuit of dream is as noble as its achievement. So we always like to ask this two-part question. One, what dream are you currently pursuing? And two, what is one piece of advice that you would offer someone who is pursuing a dream right now?
Oh, wow. A dream I'm pursuing. I feel like I'm always pursuing a bunch of stuff, but actually my dream is being able to create some more space and freedom in my work life. I work a lot, and I absolutely love providing educational content. But I'm getting older, and it's getting harder to do both, provide education to the masses and also work and support myself. So my dream is to be able to get to a point where I can spend more time doing teaching and just like enjoying that. And as far as, advice to someone about that, about your dream is, I guess, trying to it takes trying to surround yourself or know who are the people who support you, so that when you do need that encouragement to keep going forward with something that seems like it's not going very far, or you're not getting very much results from it, that you've got people who are still cheering you on and not spending a lot of time around naysayers, like recognizing who those people are for you and either shutting them down, either because you don't speak to them, or just learning to be able to let whatever they say, their negativity, bounce off of you, and recognize that, okay, that's going to be their opinion, but I can't listen to that because all it's doing is holding me back.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing. We did get a few more questions in the chat, so I'll move on to this next one. The question is, when you want to start a new habit, how do you remind yourself to do it each day?
Oh, that's a great one. So I think that one easier, I shouldn't say the easiest way, but an easy way to be able to kind of get a habit locked in without necessarily having to remember to look at your reminder, because then that's a whole nother habit, is to link it to something you're already doing. So if you already brush your teeth every day, and I hope you do, maybe link it to that. Or just something that you routinely do, that you do on autopilot because you hardly think about it because it's a habit, trying to put that in to doing it at the same time. That would be my suggestion, because again, if you do the phone notifications, I actually only recently learned, I don't want to get too off topic here, but I only recently learned that I have an iPhone, and if you have an alarm go off, that you can put, it says label when you, on an iPhone anyway, it says alarm label. I never knew what that was. If you put something on there like meeting at 2 p.m. or something, when the alarm goes off, it'll show on your screen what it is you were reminding yourself of. So that's another thing for people who like to use like alarms. My son has 50 alarms, and then like he'll be like, what was this for? Yeah, you can add the label, brush teeth, or that was the first thing in my mind. But whatever the habit is that you're trying to get started, you can put an alarm on your phone, put a label as to what it is you're reminding yourself to do, and then that could remind you. Another suggestion.
Love that. So this next question is, do you have any book recommendations? And I'm guessing it's, about what we chatted about today.
Ooh, I do not. Sorry. And I hate to say I don't read, but I read a lot of journals and things like that. And then I'll read fiction. So I don't read a lot of nonfiction about the stuff that I talk about. I read more science journal-y type stuff. So sorry, no, I don't have a book to recommend on this.
No worries. Um, let's see. If you could rank all the tools you discussed, like sleep, movement, change, thoughts, which ones, in your opinion, or based on evidence, have the most impacts on neuroplasticity?
That's a great question. I'll just repeat it real quickly. Of the things that I mentioned, what has been shown or is believed to have the most impact on neuroplasticity? Gosh, I think it's a tough call between sleep and diet, actually. Both are really impactful, but this would not be based on a meta-analysis review that I've read. This is my own opinion that I think sleep edges out diet or nutrition, just maybe by a hair, because I mean, it's just like your phone. If you don't charge your phone, it will die. And, so it doesn't matter even if it's a brand new phone. And so if we do not get enough sleep, you might feel like you're getting by, but it really is damaging. And so, at a cellular level, you get kind of negative cellular toxins or byproducts and things like that happen that get, as I mentioned, need to get cleared out and stuff. So it's more than just I feel okay on 4 hours. There's a whole lot still that you lose by not getting adequate sleep. So yeah, I think that's my own opinion. That's not necessarily a product from a study or an answer from a study.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person that has to have those 8 hours. Otherwise, even if it's 7, I can just feel it like the next day that I'm just like, and I'm just like, I need that hour nap to get me all caught up.
That's right. Yeah, it really is. The brain's like a battery that way.
Absolutely. Okay, well, you will do one more quick question here. Someone had a question, and I think they're just wanting to confirm that CBT, that's what we can use as a tool to control our thoughts. Is that the correct name for
CBT? Yeah. So cognitive behavior therapy. So what I was talking about with the reframing negative thoughts is cognitive behavior therapy. I mean, it's not, if you're doing it yourself, technically, I guess it's not therapy because you're not seeing a therapist and being taught this stuff, but it is a cognitive behavior therapy technique called cognitive reframing, reframing cognitive distortions. So yeah, that was just kind of a quick and dirty. Cognitive behavior therapy is extensive. There's a lot of different things that you can do using cognitive behavior therapy. But yeah, this was just one example of that as far as cognitive reframing.
Great. Thank you. Okay, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up, but Dr. Marks, thanks again, for sharing your time and insights with us today. This was such an impactful session, and I feel like I have, so many tools in my pocket now that I can apply in those stressful, moments. And
Excellent.
yeah, to all who joined us for this session, thank you for being here. You can learn more about DreamBank's free upcoming programming at amfam.com/DreamBank and by connecting with us on our social channels. And if you're interested in revisiting this event or exploring past ones, our YouTube channel is the place to be. On behalf of the American Family Insurance Dream Bank, we look forward to hosting you again soon. Until then, keep dreaming fearlessly. Thank you.